Hey, I'm Mike Wolfe. Welcome to Antique Archaeology Nashville.
Have enough space. This is 2,000 square feet. I already need another 2,000 square feet. So we might be building another one in the next 10 years.
Mike Wolfe kept his garage a secret for more than 3 decades. In every episode of American Pickers, it was the only area that was never shown. But in June 2025, during a limited-access taping session at LeClaire, the door was opened. Inside was a nearly pristine 1910 Indian, along with a notebook containing a series of never-before-seen transactions. At the end of the notebook were the words, "You owe me, Mike, FF." It was just one sentence, but it was enough to set off a chain reaction that would turn Wolfe's entire image upside down. The LeClaire, Iowa garage, where Mike Wolfe keeps much of his collection from his 3-decade career in the antiques business, was once considered strictly private. In June 2025, as part of a documentary project, Wolfe agreed to allow limited filming there. The shoot was coordinated by producer Eliana Carter, with the goal of capturing footage for an exhibit in LeClaire commemorating his former partner, Frank Fritz. During filming, nonetheless, a technical staff member moved equipment into the back of the garage without permission. There, the production team came across a large wooden crate, secured with metal straps and mechanical latches. They decided to film the crate as part of their storage unit. After the item was opened by a technical support staff member under the pretext of taking inventory, the contents inside caused an immediate backlash, a 1910 Indian in exceptionally good condition, sitting next to an old leather notebook. The ledger, which covers transactions from 2002 to 2010, includes a list of items, estimated values, owners, and internal notations. Notably, the final entry, handwritten in dark blue ink, reads, "You owe me, Mike, FF." The letters match the initials of Frank Fritz, who co-hosted American Pickers for a decade before leaving the show in 2021. Travis Reed, an individual who worked with Wolfe and Fritz from 2003 to 2007, appeared on his personal live stream with old audio recordings, claiming that the Indian was discovered during a trip the three of them took, and that Wolfe had asked to keep it for appraisal, but then never turned it over. Reed presented this as evidence that the bike's value could exceed $750,000 if authenticated. The fact that the notebooks listed many of the items that were never shown on television has led to suspicions of a parallel trading system or secret internal dealings. Collectors say that, if verified, this Indian could be one of the most valuable original items ever associated with American Pickers. An independent expert from Iowa Antique Motorcycles confirmed that the bike's original description suggested it was a limited production model, typically reserved for associate dealers in the 1910s, 1920s. The incident occurred as American Pickers went on hiatus after season 27, allowing the media to focus on Wolfe's personal situation. Public pressure began to shift away from issues related to the television show and towards the relationship between Wolfe and his former collaborators, leading to questions about the storage and division of his collection and the ownership of particularly valuable artifacts. Frank Fritz is the co-creator of American Pickers, appearing alongside Mike Wolfe since its first episode in 2010. The two previously worked in the antiques business in the Iowa area, often collaborating on trips to find collectibles and cultural artifacts. The show quickly attracted millions of viewers thanks to the chemistry between the two leads, defining the distinctive style of the History Channel reality series for its first decade. Nevertheless, by 2020, Frank Fritz's health began to decline after a spinal surgery. After a lengthy recovery period, Fritz did not return to the show. In 2021, History Channel confirmed that Fritz had officially left American Pickers, and the show continued without him as a new lineup. Mike Wolfe later announced the news in a short social media post, expressing regret over his former partner's absence. Shortly after, in a separate interview with a local newspaper, Fritz said he had not been in contact with Wolfe since 2019. This information sparked speculation about personal conflicts between the two. On many online discussion platforms, viewers were divided into two opinions, with some supporting Fritz, criticizing the way the show handled the personnel change, while the rest defended the decision to continue production with the new lineup. In July 2022, Frank Fritz was hospitalized for a stroke. During his extended treatment, Wolfe posted messages of support and confirmed that he had visited his old friend. Nevertheless, their interactions after that were not made public, and Fritz has not appeared on any official media platforms. On September 30th, 2024, Frank Fritz passed away at the age of 60 due to complications related to a stroke. That same day, Wolfe posted an article sharing old photos of the two of them, calling Fritz an integral part of the journey, and announcing that the next season opener would be dedicated to his memory. The post received a lot of interaction, but also prompted many responses questioning why Fritz's final years were not accompanied by Wolfe. Independent fact-checking organizations in the U.S. quickly verified and refuted all of the content in the videos. Snopes and several major media outlets such as Yahoo News and USA Today simultaneously published articles pointing out serious inaccuracies in the content, while affirming that Frank Fritz died of medical causes unrelated to any illegal acts by Mike Wolfe. In March 2025, Wolfe announced that he would be taking a 6-month break from American Pickers after filming for season 27 was completed. The announcement came shortly after the conclusion of an internal memorial service at LeClaire. In a press release, Wolfe said that the reason for his leave was to review his personal direction and restructure his activities related to antique archaeology. At the same time, Wolfe began appearing in several new artistic projects, including a supporting role in the Western film Day of Reckoning, opposite Letitia Cline. The relationship between Wolfe and Fritz, from their close collaboration to their long separation and the end of Fritz's death, has become a subject that has attracted attention far beyond the scope of a television program. The appearance of the Indian and the Notebook at the same time as Wolfe's media withdrawal has made the entire garage event directly linked to what had gone unspoken between the two men over the past 20 years of working together. Where memories are burned, the LeClaire, Iowa garage, built adjacent to Mike Wolfe's main home, houses the majority of his highly collectibles from his 30-plus years in the antiques business. The structure is enclosed, has access controlled by an independent security system, and is not part of Antique Archaeology's exhibit. During the airing of American Pickers, the space was never filmed or used as an official location for any episode. According to publicly available sales records from 2010 to the present, Wolfe has owned and transferred more than 3,000 antique items, including early 20th century motorcycles and bicycles, electromechanical equipment, billboards, vending machines, and items related to 20th century American culture. A small portion of these were sold through Antique Archaeology or its associated auction houses, while the rest were stored in private storage facilities in Iowa and Tennessee. In the LeClaire garage, according to the June 2025 production team's provisional build, there are at least 3 separate storage compartments, 2 of which are physically locked and sealed. The most notable item is the 1910 Indian that was found in an unplanned wooden crate. The bike's condition indicates a high standard of restoration, with the tires, seat, tank, and handlebars all matching the original factory blueprints. The notebook found next to the Indian listed several items from states including Nebraska, Ohio, and Missouri, with notes that they were retained or long-term reserves. Each line listed the date of receipt, the source of the transaction, and initials, including multiple occurrences of the initials FF and TR, which correspond to Frank Fritz and Travis Reed. This led to a reassessment of the ownership of the items stored in the garage, especially since some of the items had not appeared in Antique Archaeology's sales inventory reports for the past 15 years. After the photo leak, Wolfe suspended all filming and exhibition activities and worked with legal representatives to verify ownership of the artifact. During this period, Danielle Colby, the official curator of antique archaeology at LeClaire, confirmed that the garage was Wolfe's personal property, completely separate from the brand's business and public activities. In addition, information from some sources in the vintage motorcycle restoration industry said that the Indian found may be from the first limited production batch of the Indian Motorcycle Company, with a chassis number in a range rarely seen on the market today. An expert from the American Vintage Vehicle Register organization estimated that the bike has an appraisal value of about $825,000, depending on the accompanying authentication documents. Elena Carter, the documentary's content supervisor, sent a letter confirming that the crew had exceeded the original agreement and would be held legally responsible if asked for compensation or professional review. Nevertheless, Carter also sent a letter asking Wolfe to cooperate in completing the documentary with full content, arguing that what was being highlighted needed to be explained clearly in historical and practical context. Meanwhile, Danielle Colby and Letitia Klein conducted a review of internal archives and stock contracts related to items that were jointly traded between 2005 and 2010. Through cross-checking, the contents of the notebooks matched an unpublished memorandum of understanding between Wolfe and Fritz from 2008. This document mentioned that some items were being retained for long-term exhibition due to the unstable financial situation of one of the parties at the time of signing. The developments surrounding the LeClaire garage continue to fascinate professional collectors, while also highlighting the role of non-disclosure agreements and internal archiving processes in an industry that is largely driven by interpersonal trust. Memories cannot be sold. LeClaire, Iowa is where Mike Wolfe lives and does much of his off-TV business, including his main antique archaeology store, storage garage, and series of urban revitalization projects. Since the success of American Pickers, Wolfe has shifted his focus to cultural real estate and sustainable tourism development in the area, a process that has taken place in phases, starting with the acquisition of dilapidated properties in the downtown area since 2013. One notable project is Two Lanes Guest House, an early 20th century house that Wolfe has restructured to become a stopover for travelers with a passion for American heritage. The project uses all the interior and decorative items selected from Wolfe's personal archive, combining aesthetic value with proven history. After a trial period, the place officially reopened in May 2025 with a full booking schedule for the first 3 months. In parallel with Two Lanes, Wolfe is working on plans to expand antique archaeology's temporary exhibits in the town to attract visitors, especially during the summer tourist season. In an April 2025 press release, Wolfe announced that it would be closing all operations in Nashville, Tennessee. After 15 years of operation, the store at that location was once one of the highest-grossing branches in the antique archaeology system, but experienced some technical issues related to infrastructure in late 2024. After the decision to close Nashville, Wolfe transferred a large number of artifacts to LeClaire. Some of the items were featured in old episodes of American Pickers and matched the contents of the notebook found in the garage. This match provided initial validation for assessments regarding the legitimacy and transaction history of some of the disputed artifacts. From a local government perspective, Wolfe's presence and investment in LeClaire have been instrumental in revitalizing the area's economy. Data from the Iowa Tourism Board shows that the town has seen an average 17% increase in visitors each year since American Pickers aired. Food, lodging, and transportation infrastructure has also grown rapidly, with more than 25 new establishments licensed between 2015 and 2024. Nevertheless, but the positive economic impact. There have been some mixed views within the local community. A group of traditional residents and homeowners have expressed concerns about the potential for changes to the town's identity. Rising rents and pressure on local traffic during peak seasons. An informal survey conducted by the LeClaire Sentinel in 2024 found that 61% of residents supported Wolfe's plans, while 27% were neutral, and 12% said the changes were too fast and uncontrolled. In response to public feedback, Wolfe held 2 community meetings in the town center in early 2025 to update progress and solicit feedback on plans to expand antique archaeology into a permanent exhibition and educational space. At these meetings, Wolfe representatives presented a strategy to convert the garage into an open storage area, which is expected to operate on a scheduled tour basis with a professional antiquities guide. Some of the items are being inventoried to determine which lots can be put on public display. Among them, the 1910 Indian, the object at the center of the recent controversy, has been placed on a special transfer list, which will be used to create a display called "The Pick That Started It All." The repositioning of the garage as a community space marks a shift from a model of individual collecting to a concept of collective storage, with Wolfe's traditional business models temporarily frozen. The Leclerc project is seen as a fulcrum to reinforce the sustainable values that the American Pickers brand has always pursued. Every element of the organization, from the operating structure to the curatorial content, is being discussed by stakeholders with the goal of using heritage as a means of mass education. Last trip. On June 14, 2025, Mike Wolfe's representatives announced plans to hold a thematic exhibition called "The Pick That Started It All" at the Leclerc Cultural Center, using the entire private garage area after being renovated and upgraded into an exhibition space. The exhibition's focal point is the 1910 Indian and the internal transaction notebook between Wolfe and Frank Fritz, attracting attention from antique collectors as well as domestic and foreign specialized media. The exhibition officially opened on June 27th and is operated as a guided tour, with a limited number of visitors per day to ensure the preservation of the artifacts. In addition to the Indian, the display includes items discovered in prominent episodes of American Pickers, the original collaboration agreement between Wolfe and Fritz, and correspondence between the two between 2006 and 2010. The attached storage room is designed to meet private museum standards, with specialized temperature control and security. Initial reports from the local tourism department said that more than 12,000 registrations were recorded during the first week of the exhibition, including the participation of many prestigious figures in the field of restoration and research of antiquities in the United States. Representatives of organizations such as the National Trust for Historic Preservation and the American Association for State and Local History were also present at the opening, and gave positive assessments of the documentary value of the artifacts on display. Mike Wolfe has not made any direct statements since the exhibition opened. Nevertheless, through his representatives, he confirmed that he will not be returning to American Pickers in the near future and is considering restructuring his entire career direction, shifting from reality television to archival, educational, and scholarly projects. This decision comes as American Pickers is on hiatus after its 27th season. One of the projects announced is a digital platform called Heartland Archives, co-founded by Wolfe and Letitia Klein. The platform focuses on digitizing, recording, and cataloging heritage artifacts from the Midwest region, and hosts quarterly workshops with regional cultural experts, antiquities appraisers, and historical scholars. A pilot version of the platform will be launched in the fourth quarter of 2025 with a priority on working with local museums and archives that have not converted to digital data. In the national press, Wolfe is now being repositioned from his role as a reality show host to an influential independent curator in the field of tangible cultural heritage preservation. Several publications, including Smithsonian Magazine and Antique Trader, have devoted extensive coverage to Wolfe's impact in creating a new wave of interest in antiques and indigenous cultural memory, especially in small communities and rural America. Meanwhile, the negative content that had circulated in the first quarter of 2025 gradually lost its impact after many media outlets and official information verification organizations refuted it. The public exhibition, along with the release of documents certified by independent experts, played an important role in strengthening Wolfe's personal image and ending the controversial developments related to the Indian and other items in the garage. As of late June, more than 300 objects from Wolfe's personal collection were being evaluated for possible permanent transfer to the LeClaire Cultural Archive or collaboration with academic institutions. A preliminary list is being reviewed for historical value, textual integrity, and instructional relevance. Several objects have been reserved for traveling exhibitions scheduled for universities and research centers in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. The evolution of the LeClaire Garage to the public exhibition and the new direction of Mike Wolfe's work represents a clear turning point in the reshaping of the role of the individual in the field of cultural media. This case sets a precedent for the possibility of moving from the commercial form of television to the community heritage platform, with a rigorous, verifiable, and long-term approach. Wolfe is now recognized as an individual who successfully transformed entertainment value into a sustainable cultural education platform, playing an active role in the process of reviving collective memory through carefully preserved physical artifacts. If you find this information valuable, please share the video with those who are interested in culture, heritage, and untold stories. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment to let us know you are following this journey with us.